my name is Kaylee, and in this part of the video series, we are going to be showing you how to install your 2022 and up hybrid subwoofer enclosure. I'm going to go ahead and use a 12mm socket to remove the bolt. I'm going to pop this off and make sure to tuck it nice and safe out of the way. Next, I'm going to go ahead and remove this harness right here by pushing down on this tab. I'm just going to take my panel removal tool and I'm going to push in. That unlocks it, and then it pops right out. And then go around and do the same to the rest of them. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take all of my buttons and put them in my cup holder so I don't lose them. Once I remove that panel, underneath my seat there's this little harness right here. Then I'm going to go ahead and go over to the other side and repeat the same steps. Okay, next I'm going to go underneath my seat, and there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 seat bolts. I'm going to take a 14mm socket and go ahead and take those out. Now, in another video, we removed all of the paneling from the rear wall. This matting is back there. I'm going to go ahead and lay it on this panel so I don't scratch it up. Now I'm going to go ahead and come over to my seat belt for my middle seat. At the bottom there's going to be this little plug right here. I'm going to take a small screwdriver and press that and remove this piece. For that, I'm going to go ahead and push this through to the bottom of my seat. I'm going to push these little buttons on the side right here. And as I push them, I'm going to push up on my headrest and pop it out. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and take my seat out. I'm going to fold it forward first. I'm going to go ahead and lift it up and slide it out. You're going to want to get a tiny pick tool of some sort because these buttons are different than the previous ones. These ones, you will pop them up and then take them out. And then just repeat the same steps for the rest of them. Then I'm going to go ahead and put these in the other cup holder so I do not mix them up. And I'm going to pop this off. Then there's going to be 4 more 14mm bolts for my seat belts. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and take my seat belt buckles and push the little cords out of the way. Then I can carefully remove my panel. I'm at the brackets where my single seat meets the double seats. Using a Dremel, or in this case we are using a $40 angle grinder from Harbor Freight and an 80 grit flap disc, sand away the bracket as shown in the video. Do not apply too much pressure. The sanding disc will remove the bracket material within seconds. We are removing just enough of the seat brackets to clear the seat belt brackets. Alright, now don't forget to touch it up with paint to protect that exposed metal. Okay, so now I'm going to grab the panel that sits across the top of my battery. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and come to this piece on my panel right here. And I'm going to draw a straight line from here all the way to here. Using a cutting disc with an angle grinder is much faster, but it requires greater caution because the high-speed tool removes material quickly. Okay, next I'm going to come over to these 2 corners on my panel, and I'm going to get my straight edge and Sharpie. Starting from this, I'm going to move over about 1/8 of an inch, and draw a straight line. Trim the 2 corner pieces as shown. Take your time to make the cuts clean, even though this area will be hidden underneath the seat. Okay, so now that I've got this side cleaned up, I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same steps on the other side. Alright, so just a quick overview of what we have Dremeled on this piece. We did the corner right here. Coming to the middle piece right here, we trimmed off this. Then after the middle piece, we came right here and did our 2 90-degree angles. We did the corner right here. Now we can reinstall the panel. Okay, so now that I'm done with all of my Dremeling, I'm going to be installing my first set of seat spacers. Now first I'm going to need a 12mm socket to get these 2 bolts out. I'm going gonna grab my smaller rectangle spacer with this notch in the bottom. I'm going to place the notch on the bottom, and then grab my new seat bolt with the washer, slide that through. Okay, so as I'm installing my spacer, I'm just kind of pushing the carpet out of the way. It can be a little bit of a booger. And then while I install my bolts, I'm just kind of wiggling my bracket around a little bit to get 4 or 5 good turns. I also want to make sure that they go in nice and easy so that I'm not cross-threading them. Now before I tighten down my bolts all the way, I want to make sure I take my release and I point it up. Then I'm going to grab the little piece of Velcro from my kit and I'm going to place it over so that it doesn't fall down. Next, I'm going to come over here and on the left-hand side of this latch, remove those bolts, repeat the same steps using this spacer. There's no special way it goes in. Just put the bolts in and make sure you don't cross-thread them. Okay, so before I put my panel back into place, I'm going to grab my seat belts and lay them on top, run them underneath where they were before. I'm going to pop my panel back into place, but again, I want to make sure that I'm not pinching any of these wires. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my clips for this panel back in. Remember, they are the clips that I pull up, not the ones that I push down. There's one that goes in the center right here. You're going to pull it out, push it back in. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and bolt my seat belts back into place. I'm going to push my excess wire back. Now these can be a little bit of a booger, so you're going to want to get your socket and start very slow, making sure not to cross thread them. When I put my bolt in for my seatbelt, I want to make sure that this little hook right here goes in this slot. Okay, so now that I have my buckles back in place, I'm going to go ahead and grab the piece from my middle seatbelt that I unclipped and go ahead and put that one where it belongs. Again, I want to make sure this hook is in the slot. I just want to let y'all know that I do make sure I lock this one pointing upwards. Unlike the other seat belt, it does not twist up and down. Okay, so next I'm going to grab the remaining spacers from my kit. I'm going to take one of my small spacers and put it right here. Make sure that the slot is going up and down and you have the short end on top. Now you don't have to, but we put tape on the sides just to make the install a little bit easier. Next I'm going to grab the one with the Taco Tunes logo and I'm going to place it right here. Again, the Taco Tunes logo is on the bottom. And then repeat the same steps as the first for the last one. Okay, now this is cut in from a later part in the video. You'll be trimming this piece. However, before you remove this panel right here, you're going to take out these little clips by pushing them on the side and popping them out. Then I'm going to come over here and push off this tab and then tuck the rest of it back here. After I remove my harnesses, I'm going to grab the 2 pieces of foam from my kit. The smaller piece is going to go on this side. I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to tuck it underneath my seat bracket. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and grab my seats and install them. I really recommend getting help with this so you don't scratch up your seats or your panels. Okay, so first I'm going to go ahead and grab the bracket on my seat and pull it up. I like to make sure it locks in place. The other side won't lock on this seat in particular. All right, now notice this little pin right here on this seat bracket. It used to go in this hole right here. Instead, it is now going to be going between your plastic panel and your seat bracket right in here. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the seat into place, but make sure you have your longer seat bolts ready from your kit. Okay, so in order to get the seat bolt in, I started from the bottom. I used an extended socket to help me with this, just to get a couple threads in from under here. And then you're gonna wanna play with your seat a little bit. If you put it down from the back, you can come from this angle back here and start hand tightening it. In order to do that, I put some pressure on the seat to release some tension and scooted it back. In this case, I want to make sure I get at least 10 good turns because it is very easy to cross thread these bolts. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. That side normally goes in a lot easier. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I cannot stress this enough. Take your time and make sure you do not cross thread your bolts. I'm going to go ahead now and take a 13mm socket and tighten them all up. As I'm tightening them, once they're semi-tight, I just want to do one good turn to make sure I don't strip them. Now again, with my battery still disconnected at this point, I'm going to go back and plug in my harnesses on my seat and do the other one on the other side. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put my side panels back on. These pins right here, they're going to be sliding into these holes right here. Another quick tip, sometimes these little white pins, they stay stuck on your truck, so you wanna take those out and put them back on your panel. Now I'm going to repeat the same steps for this side panel on the other side and then put on my front panel. Okay, so now I'm going to take the remainder of my push pin buttons. I'm going to push on the bottom and pop it out like that, and then slide them into place. With the seats moved forward, you're going to have to push a little bit on them to get them to slide in. Before installing the subwoofer box, place a towel beneath it to protect the box from the seat bracket. To prevent scratching the rear window tint, cover the glass with a pad or blue painter's tape. The next step is to connect the terminal cup. Loosen the terminals. Insert the black wire into the negative terminal, then tighten. Wiggle the wire and tighten again to ensure a secure connection. Repeat this process for the red wire and the positive terminal. The seat fits tight up against the subwoofer box. To close your seat, sit inside the truck, place your hands on either side of the latch, and push firmly to lock the seat in place.